Hi students, welcome you all to the second session of the poem An Elementary School Classroom in a Slum, which was written by Stephen Spender. Now, before we go to the second part, let's have a quick recap of what we have learnt in the first part. So, the children of an elementary school classroom in a slum look very pathetic and miserable. And they have pale and lifeless faces. Their disorderly hair are torn around and look like rootless weeds. And they are depressed and keep their heads down. They have stunted growth and they inherit the disease of their parents. They do not have dreams, and a sweet young boy is sitting unnoted at the back of his dim classroom. He is dreaming of squirrels' games in trees and of other interesting places other than his dull and drab classroom. And the gifts given as donations, the charts and the picture of Shakespeare's head are hung on the unpleasant creamy wall. But these are useless to these unfortunate children. In the early morning, the sky is cloudless. Domes of the institutions of the civilized world shine in every city. So are they in this Tyrolese valley. Music of bells and fragrance of flowers pervade there. But the map of this world is made and reshaped by the people in power. But the children of this school in the slum, the world is meaningless. Their own windows are dirty and unpleasant surroundings form their world. The fog of uncertainty dominates their future. So they are doomed to live in narrow streets closed in by the bluish grey sky, and their world is far away from rivers, capes and stars. So this is what we have learnt in the first two stanzas, and we have also discussed the poetic devices which the poet has effectively used in these two stanzas. Now let's go to the second part to learn the remaining two stanzas of this poem. Now let's start off with the third stanza. Surely Shakespeare is wicked. Wicked is evil. The map a bad example, with ships and sun and love tempting them to steal. Tempted is to persuade. For lives that slyly turn in their cramped holes. So slyly is trickily. Cramped is confined holes. From fog to endless night. On their slag heap. Slag is weak. These children wear skins peeped through by bones and spectacles of steel with mended glass. Mended is repaired, like bottle bits on stones. All of their time and space are foggy slum. So blot their maps with slums as big as doom. So blot is to mark with a spot and doom is disaster. So now let's learn the meaning of this stanza. So the poet further says that these children living in the slum area, that is surely Shakespeare is wicked, the map a bad example. So the children who are living in the slum area have faced so many hardships that they feel every other person to be their enemy. And for them Shakespeare is an evil man. And they don't find the map to be a good thing because they were never liked or loved by anyone. And therefore they hate almost everyone. Their desire of being loved by others forces them to steal. And they live in small homes and they have started adjusting to it. That is what, for lives that slyly turn in their cramped holes. From fog to endless night, on their slag heap, these children. So they live in small homes and they have started adjusting to it. And their life is going towards an endless night. This means that their future is full of darkness, and these kids are so thin that one can easily see their bones. That is what? Where skins peeped through by bones and spectacles of steel. That is, their skin is like the thin layer of cloth and the bones beneath are visible through the skin. And these kids, that means these kids suffer from malnutrition and also they wear spectacles which are made of steel. They are very cheap and very uncomfortable, and even the lenses in the spectacles are repaired. So the spectacles look like, how do they look like? Like bottle bits on stones. So they look like stones which have been repaired with pieces of glass sticking out of them. And here the poet actually tries to explain that these kids have to face so many hardships in their lives. So all of their time and space are foggy slum. So blot their maps with slums as big as doom. That is, or as these slums are getting bigger, the future, they will destroy the future of these children, and it is very difficult for such kids to escape from them. That is what the poet is trying to tell to this stanza. Now let's have a look at the poetic devices which the poet has used in this stanza. Metaphor, as I told you all, it's the hidden comparison between two things that are unrelated but which share some common, something common in them. That is what, first one is cramped holes. So cramped holes refers to the, not the holes, that is the narrow hidden place where they live in. That is called cramped holes. So cramped holes is compared to a place, a narrow place. So it is something different. And from fog to endless night. The second one, so that refers to the future of the slum children, which is who are without any hope, and a future that can only go from bad to worse. That is called from fog to endless night. So that also refers, it's compared to the future of the slum children, which can go from bad to worse. And the third one is where skins peeped through by bones. So this refers to the thin bodies of the children which has been reduced to mere skin and bones. So they are all compared to something. So it's a metaphor. And the second one is simile, that also makes a comparison showing similarities between the different things. That is like bottle bits on stones. So when you say bottle bits on stones, it means that the spectacle frame their stony-eyed expressions, hard faces. So it is like the faces are like bottle bits on stones, which frame stony-eyed expression, or they have a hard face. It's compared to that. And then symbol, it's has a meaning which is concealed. It refers to something else. Here ships and sun. Actually, it's a symbol. The ships and sun, it's actually adventure and beautiful lands offering opportunities. That is called ships and sun here. It's an indication of adventure and beautiful lands. And the second one is slag heap. Slag heaps means the industrial waste or the toxic filth. That is called slag heaps. So they are all symbols which refers to, slag heaps refers to the industrial waste here, and ships and sun refers to the adventure and beautiful lands. Next is alliteration, that is the repetition of the consonant sound at the start of two or more, and here it's from fog. So fur, the start of the two or more closely placed words, that is from and fog, it starts with fur. And you have assonance and consonants. It's understood that it's your assignment. You'll have to find assonance and consonants from this stanza. And the last one is transferred epithet. I've already told you all in the first part that it's a figure of speech in which a modifier qualifies a noun other than the person or thing. It is actually describing. So even though the adjective is placed before a particular noun, it does not qualify that particular noun, but it qualifies the other noun in the sentence. So the first one is bottle bits. So when you say bottle bits, cramped hole, slag heap, endless night. Now endless night, it doesn't mean that the night is endless, but their future is dark. That is what it means. It refers to again the children. And slag heap, it doesn't mean that the heap is very weak or it means that they live in the children live in a place where there is full of filth. And then the cramped holes also refers to the hidden places of the children. And this bottle bits of stone shows their expression, stoned expression. So everything doesn't mean, the adjective does not qualify the noun to which it is being placed, I mean to where it is placed, but it modifies another noun. So that is called a transferred epithet. Now let's go to the fourth stanza. Unless governor, inspector, visitor, this map becomes their window, and these windows that shut upon their lives like catacombs. So catacombs here is the cemetery or the tomb. Break, oh break open till they break the town, and show the children to green fields and make their world run azure on gold sands, and let their tongues, so azure is nothing but deep blue, and let their tongues run naked into books, the white and green leaves open, history theirs whose language is the sun. So here the poet tries to explain, and he says that the government should take notice of these problems being faced by these kids who live in the slum areas. So unless a governor or inspector or someone from the government takes steps, nothing can be changed. And they have to change the life of these kids and make the world map a reality for them. I mean, they've seen, what have they seen? The world map, beautiful places which are very neat and tidy, which is nowhere connected to them. So they'll have to make the world map real for them. The government has to make the world map real for these kids. And there is a need to break the restrictions which are put on them due to poverty and lack of resources. That is what break, oh break open till they break the town, and show the children to green fields. So that they are all shut upon their lives like catacombs. It's like a cemetery there. So they'll have to break open. The government has to break open all this, and they'll have to show them the they'll have to the governor and the public to help these kids in achieving their dreams. And as this will take them away from the fog to azure sky. Azure sky is something deep blue sky. That is, the poet here, what does he try to say? He wants to say that in the way the kids can be taken away from the darkness of their present to a bright future. And he wants these kids to experience the sands and the beauty of the nature, as this will lead to a desire of gaining knowledge. That is what he is saying. Run naked into books, the white and green leaves open. So they will then go through the white and green leaves. And here white leaves depict the books and the green leaves depict the nature. So this will then result in their progress, and they will be able to paint a bright future for themselves. So that is what he is trying to say through this stanza. And let's have a check on the poetic devices which the poet has used here. So again, it's metaphor, hidden comparison between two things. I told you all here, actually the white green leaves open. That is, the white leaves refers to the books, and the green leaves refer to the is compared to the nature here. So it's a metaphor. And let their tongues run naked into books. It's compared to the act of allowing the children to experience the variety of life as depicted in the books, or giving the children an experience of the beautiful bright world outside the depressing confines of the slum. So that is, it's compared to all this experience which can be given to the children. The vast wide experience which can be given to the children, that is the let their tongues run naked into books is compared to. So it's a metaphor, and whose language is the sun. Here it refers, it's compared to the children who live in pleasant surroundings and thereby having happier lives. So that is also a metaphor. Now symbol here, it refers to something. It is a symbol of something. So let's see what is this windows. Windows is actually a symbol of the slum classroom, which do not open out to opportunities and the wide world. They show only fog covered slums where they are confined to. So this is called windows. It refers to that. And green fields and gold sand. Here it refers to color, happiness, nature and golden opportunities. Green fields refers to the happy nature, colorful nature, and gold sands refers to the opportunities. So it is also a symbol. White and green leaves, as I told you all, it's the learning from pages of books and nature. White and green leaves. And run azure, it refers to the experience of the rich colors of the blue waves. That is called, so it's a symbol. And here sun is a symbol of enlightenment, clarity, purity. So it's also a symbol. So the poet has used this device in this stanza. And the next one, as usual, is the assonance, consonance and alliteration, which you'll have to find out from this stanza. Simile, these windows that shut upon their lives like catacombs. So the simile here, windows that shut upon the classroom and the homes in which the slum children live have been compared to the underground burial chambers. So it's a comparison. Their lives like catacombs is like a cemetery. That is like the burial chambers. And an anaphora is use of repeated words in 2 consecutive lines. Run azure, run away, run naked. So run, run. And then repeat. That is in the first line it is run azure. And the second line it is, the next consecutive line it is run naked. And here the break is repeated, break or break. So the same word is repeated in the same line. So that's a repetition. So these are the poetic devices used in this poem. Now let's have a check on the tone and mood of this poem. So the poet's tone changes from pensive to belligerent and finally from frustration to appeal. Belligerent is nothing but aggressive. So first he is thoughtful to aggressive and finally from frustration to appeal. He gets frustrated and finally he appeals the government to do and bring out some changes here. And now before we wind up this poem, let's summarize this poem once again. In the first stanza, we see that the children staying in slums have a life full of struggle and lack hope and optimism, and they are far away from the velvety world which is outside. They lack those amenities which are available to all the privileged children, and they are as unwanted as the rootless weed, and they can only wish for the velvety and comfortable life of the outside world outside. These children have no hope on their faces, and their faces are pale and dull, and their hair is scattered untidily around their pale faces. They lack stability, and a tall girl is sitting with her head down because she is depressed and overburdened with poverty. And there is also a boy who is as lean and thin as a paper, and his miserable underdeveloped body with eyes bulging out like a rat reflects the greed he has for an eternity. And his growth is blocked, and the body appears underdeveloped and malnourished, and he has an unfortunate heir who has inherited the twisted bones of his father. And he is not reciting a lesson from his desk, but is enumerating the diseases inherited from his father. And at the back of that unlit classroom is a sweet young boy who goes unnoticed. and as he's sitting in the dark, and dreams seem to be alive in his eyes. His eyes have that spark of dreams to be part of that world outside the classroom, and he dreams of squirrels playing games in the hollow of the tree, and his dreams are of the places other than his repulsive classroom. He is lost in his imagination, creating his own fantasy world where he plays like a squirrel in its tree room, and he is not interested in the monotonous environment of this classroom. That is what the poet explains in the first stanza. Now the second stanza, the poet depicts the critical condition of the pale and dingy yellow walls of the classroom. He compares the color of the walls to sour cream, and the classroom has a picture of Shakespeare which was probably donated, and the poet further compares the gifts given as donations and the picture of Shakespeare hung on the unpleasant creamy walls, depicting dejection. That is, to them they are of no use, and Shakespeare and literature have no place in their lives. There is also a picture of a clear sky hung on the classroom walls, which depicts dawn and a beautiful Tyrolese valley, which indicates beauty and hope, with its bells and colorful flowers representing the world that celebrates civilization, progress and splendor. But there is also a world map hung on the wall, which is of no use to them, as their world is narrow and stuck in the boundaries of poverty and misery. Their future is shaky, dark and foggy, and their world is confined within the narrow streets of the slum, enclosed by the bluish grey sky. And they are far away from rivers, seas that resemble the adventure, excitement, beauty, as well as from the stars that symbolize what wisdom that can brighten their future. So they are far away from all these things which have been hung on the wall and which is of no use for them. In the third stanza, the poet feels that Shakespeare is wicked as he is misleading those naive children through his words portraying the world of ships, sun and love, which is not only unreal for them, but it has a negative impact on their minds. They feel that this world instigates them to steal or to take unfair means as they desperately make attempts to escape from their cramped holes, and their existence is indeed very sad. So these deprived children are so skinny that it appears that they are wearing skins, and spectacles they are wearing have the spectacles which they are wearing have glass which have been broken and mended, and their entire appearance reflects their misery and deprivation. And the poet shows his indignation by suggesting that the maps on the classroom walls should show the reality of their life, and it must show the huge slums instead of beautiful scenic graphics and all. It should show their real life. And the fourth stanza, the poet tries to appeal to the governor, inspector and visitor to become aware and sensitive and do something to improve the conditions of these deprived children. They must try to align the world and transform their map, unlike the map of children with amenities. And the poet hopes that the authorities should understand their moral responsibilities and free these deprived ones from traps of their graves, which is a metaphor actually for the slum. And he wants all the barriers that keep them away from achieving the true education to be broken down, and they should be given an opportunity to come out of these narrow and shabby lanes and extend to the blue sky and waves rising over the golden sands. And the children must be given the freedom to experience the wholesome boundaries of nature's fields, and these deprived children must be taught to express themselves freely. And he wishes them all distinctions that separate them from merging with the outside world be removed from their lives, and that they too may have hope of a better and more secured future. So this is what he explains through these four stanzas. Now, the central idea The main idea is actually the Stephen Spender has presented a true picture of the life of the school children living in the slum of Tyrolese Valley of Austrian Alpine province. So the children are in a very miserable condition due to their poverty and illiteracy, and they are all depressed. Their pale faces express sadness and they look lean, skinny and bony, and they are like rootless weeds which can't resist anything for their existence. They are physically very weak and undernourished. So Spender's voices his concern for these children who live their lives in slums and have no opportunity to enjoy the real blessing of life. He makes a frantic appeal to the educated and affluent sections of the society to better the lot of the slum children through education, and it will remove social justice and class inequality. So, it is an eye-awakening poem. Hope you have understood this poem and all the poetic devices which the poet has effectively used in this poem. Have a great day, children. Thank you.